I'm Jack, by the way, and I've made nearly 450 videos, documentaries here on this channel. And in doing so, I've seen so many things that honestly, I never wanted to see, wish I never had seen. So I've realised that I need to do this whole thing in a more healthy kind of way, so that's why I'm outside. I just need to ground myself a bit because I really get dragged into the channel and the whole thing. So yeah, things are going to be different, are going to be better from here on out. And for Dark Case Documentaries on the whole, it's all or nothing now. So I've made the decision to really just go all in. This is the heartbreaking, the absolutely infuriating story of Kylee Monteiro.
Maybe we're in trouble. I've got no answers. How to make it better, to get closer to you. Maybe find something new that will arise one more time between us.
This isn't like her at all. I'm really scared. I really am. She's a good girl. She's just, she doesn't know how to survive out there by herself.
Again and again, love is a losing game. With or without you, it feels so lonely.
Human remains consistent with those of Kylee Monteiro have been recovered.
And just quickly, before the video does properly start, please do consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. You can do that by just clicking join below the video. There's a whole bunch of perks like early access and exclusive content, stuff like that. And I promise that you will seriously be allowing me to continue to keep this show on the road beyond like the next couple of months. One last thing, of course, the silly little question. What drink do you think is in my cup? My keep cup? This video isn't sponsored, I wish it was. I need a sponsor. And now, on with the video.
Before the events of this case really begin, there is Kylie's life as it was. She'd experienced a significant loss at a young age. She lost her father to substances when she was just 2 years old, and her mother then passed away when she was just 13. To make things even harder, Kylie described the fact that she was present with her mother at the time that she passed, saying she was holding her hand. These experiences tend to shape how someone grows up. Losing both parents in childhood is devastating to a level that thankfully most people will never experience. Kylie, though, she didn't just lay down and give up. She kept on pushing forwards as best as she could. However, it doesn't seem like she just had an easy ride after losing her mother. One TikTok post that she made really choked me up. She said that she was bullied and had her phone smashed purely because her mother passed away. If that doesn't make you angry, I really don't know what will. After the passing of her mother, I believe that Kylie then mainly lived with her auntie and uncle. But it seems like the people that she really idolised were her grandparents. She made a lot of positive posts about them. By the age of 18, she decided that she wanted to be a welder, and from what I've seen online, it seems like welding is actually a great career choice. Kylie graduated from Attleboro High School, and she was now entering a new stage of her life. However, sadly, that transition was just not going to be smooth. Kylie, as most teenagers, was active on social media. Her TikTok account has over 1,000 posts on there. I actually looked at the first 1,000 posts, and it really seems like she was a great, fun person. She also had Instagram and Facebook and an old YouTube account and maybe some others too. It says that she had Snapchat on her Instagram profile. From her social media posting, I can tell you that she worked at Wendy's for a period of time, and that she had at least one boyfriend before the events of this video, and also that it seems like she really loved music of just all genres. People that knew her described her as expressive, as social, and as always talking to and staying in touch with the people that she loved. She had close friendships, She liked to use nicknames for people, and she maintained connections both online and offline with those friends. And somebody new was about to enter Kylie's life. Kylie would meet with someone that changed her life totally. From what I can decipher from her TikTok account, she met Gregory Groom, or Greg, in early 2025 at a park in Attleboro. And from what she said, this was in the middle of the night. She wasn't alone at the time. Her friend Anna was also there when they first met. It seems like Greg, somehow for whatever reason, approached Kylie and gave her some flowers. So that makes me think that this encounter wasn't completely random, and maybe they had been talking online, but maybe not. Either way, it seems quite unorthodox. And I personally would not recommend going to parks at night and meeting people. From there, the relationship between Kylie and Greg developed quickly. They began seeing each other often, and within just a short period of time, it seems like the relationship had become really serious. Publicly, Kylie spoke positively about Greg. In her posts and interactions, she described him as someone who treated her well and made her feel valued and loved. And from the outside, the relationship just appeared great, kind of like love's young dream. Kylie actually made a whole bunch of posts about Greg, saying that he was perfect and how they loved each other deeply. She also posted quite a lot about going to prom, an event that she attended with friend Anna as her date. But she also made sure to make posts with Greg too, as she was all dressed up for the night. At the prom, she was awarded prom court. I'm British, obviously, so I had to Google what this was. And I believe it's just an award from her peers to honour her, which is awesome. Well done, Kylie. I believe that Greg couldn't be her date at the prom because he was too old. At that time, he was 22, and she was 18. One huge and unexpected turning point in this case was that Kylie had recently shared that she was pregnant. On July the 18th, 2025, she announced that her and Greg were expecting baby Groom, or Peanuts as she was calling the baby. And now at just 18 years old, she was preparing for a brand new chapter and adding further context to her life in the lead up to August. However, as good as things looked on social media, as is so often the case, real life wasn't that rosy. Kylie was not in a stable living situation. She moved between places, at times staying in a shelter, and at other times attempting to stay with Greg. And I will add a couple of things here from what I can deduce from what I can find online. It wasn't actually Greg's house that she was moving into, but instead it was like a shed, an outbuilding, which I believe is actually this red shed from the prom pictures. And this shed was situated on Greg's grandparents' land. And that shelter that I mentioned, the place that Kylie sometimes stayed at, this is called Bethesda House. It's a Massachusetts-based shelter providing temporary housing, as well as structured support for young mothers who are pregnant or parenting. I can't fully work out why she was in a shelter and not at home, but I guess families and people's beliefs can be complex, so really, who knows? The living arrangement that she had with Greg's shed also seemed inconsistent, and this wasn't a proper home or a proper house, nor was it somewhere that Kylie was able to live at long term. And this really creates a weird dynamic between a couple, where one person has more control over the environment, and the other person is just trying to maintain access to it. There are also some TikTok posts that suggest there was maybe some other imbalances in this relationship. At one point, Kylie states that Greg didn't want her to go somewhere, suggesting that maybe her movements were being influenced by his preferences and not her own free will. Friends and family would also later describe arguments within a relationship, as well as some other periods of tension that were not visible in her online posts. There is one good insight into Kylie's living arrangements from her birthday post for Greg, something that she shared on Instagram, which says, "Happy birthday to the love of my life, not just my mystery man, which yes, I called you for weeks, because I wanted you all to myself. You're my person and you complete me. You're literally my other half, and I have no clue what I'd do without you. You gave me a home when no one else could, and even gave my cat one, and how rude because he loves you more than he loves me now. I love when you treat my friends with the best respect, especially Anna. It makes my world when you'll get along, and seeing you guys become best friends. I could go on for days about how good you are, but I won't. I love you, baby. Happy birthday. Also mentioned in that birthday post is the friend, Anna, someone that Kylie had known since August of 2021. She was, of course, present when Kylie first met Greg in the park that night, and Kylie spoke highly of her online. She described her as a close friend or a best friend, sometimes as just my Anna. It seems like Kylie and Greg and Anna hung out a lot, like they often came as a three. The relationship between Greg and Kylie did seem like a bit of a whirlwind, and relationships, particularly those that form quickly, that don't just exist in isolation or a vacuum, they often go hand in hand with turmoil or any other number of issues. They can also be influenced by the people around them, and over a short period of time, the dynamics can really shift. On August the 6th, Kylie left Bethesda House, the shelter that she'd been staying at that time, for only a few weeks. This happened after returning from a hospital visit early in the morning, due to a pregnancy-related scare, following which she fell asleep and missed a meeting. According to documentation shared by Kylie's sister, this missed meeting resulted in her discharge from the shelter.
We went to the hospital. She got back to the house at 6 in the morning. She had fallen asleep and they had come in to wake her up around 9 to tell her that she had to leave. And when she had talked to them and she tried to beg them, she was like, I really want to do this program. I'm sorry I fell asleep. I'm so sorry. She was so upset over it.
Faith says Kylie was discharged for missing a mandatory meeting.
And then, from what I can gather, Kylie then got a rideshare or some kind of volunteer ride by the shelter, which took her to Greg's home on County Street in Rehoboth. This sounds like a really tough time for Kylie, and then things would go from bad to worse. Once she was with Greg, an argument began between them. It's believed that this argument centered around whether she would actually be allowed to stay at the property. This question had come up before, but on this occasion, it seems like the situation escalated. Kylie then sent a message to her sister, describing what she says had happened. She also stated in that message that her phone battery was low at just 4%, also writing quite a horrifying line, "If I die, it was Greg." Hyperbole is a thing though, and it's always worth bearing that in mind. But no matter how you take it, this is where the timeline begins to split into different directions. By August the 7th, the next day, Kylie is still on Greg's grandparents' property. Earlier that day, she sent a message stating that she is still there, waiting while Greg went out to get food. Later messages then show uncertainty about whether she would be staying at Greg's any longer, which was then followed by a complete loss of contact. By the next day, friends were sending messages asking her to call them, and they were attempting both audio and video calls, none of which were answered. These messages place her inside the property, and they show that, at least at that point, she had not left. After that though, there were no confirmed communications with Kylie. Later, Greg provides his account of what happened next. He tells investigators that Kylie left the property on foot, and that she was walking toward Reservoir Avenue at around 7 p.m. Kylie's last text message was sent at 3:52 p.m, and the first message that she didn't respond to was at 7:09 p.m. From that point forward, her phone becomes completely inactive. There are no messages, no calls, and no activity on social media. For someone who had been consistently communicating with friends and maintaining an active online presence, that sudden and complete silence is really unusual. It just does not align with her established behaviours. So now, on one side, there is the claim that she left the property voluntarily, but on the other side, there's a confirmed fact that she was still there earlier in the day, but then just stopped communicating entirely. So there is a gap there, and that becomes the focus of the investigation. Because if there is no actual evidence that she did leave the property, then the possibility that she remained there has to be considered. On that same day, August the 8th, Kylie is reported missing by concerned boyfriend Greg. Police begin a missing person investigation, and they attend Greg's grandparents' property as part of their initial inquiries. Search efforts are organised quickly. Canine units are brought in, drones are used to scan the surrounding area, and nearby woods and bodies of water are checked.
Right now, search and rescue teams are looking from the air and on the ground for a missing 18-year-old woman. Police say Kylee Monteiro was last seen or heard from almost a week ago. Her sister is worried.
That's the last contact that she's made with anyone was Thursday through text message. The last known time where we heard her voice was Wednesday night.
Kylie's sister says she's just 11 weeks pregnant. Her friend says she's living with her boyfriend.
Me and her had spoken Wednesday evening, and she was just talking about how she was in a little argument with her boyfriend. She was like, I don't feel safe right now, like something's not right. And then I had tried talking to her after that, and she just stopped responding to me after that.
Officers, sheriff's deputies, and troopers spending much of today and the week scouring the woods next to a reservoir in town near County Street where she was last seen. Neighbors hoping she's just run away.
She's disappeared Lord knows where. You'd hope that maybe she's gone someplace or has some people who could help her out, but she's just laying low and being quiet because she's either too upset or afraid.
Kylie was described as wearing a red Get Over It t-shirt, ripped jeans and tan boots at the time that she was last seen. These details are used to guide the search. Despite these massive efforts though, nothing is found. There are absolutely no confirmed sightings, no physical evidence in the surrounding area, and no indication of where she may have gone. Friends and family then begin speaking publicly, emphasizing that this behavior is completely out of character. When a person's actions suddenly deviate from their normal behavior without any explanation, it suggests that it's very possible it wasn't done out of choice. Search efforts then continue over the following days. They extend into a broader area, but they still produce no results. With no evidence of her leaving the area and no communications from her, attention begins to return to the last confirmed location, Greg's grandparents' property on County Street, as well as the person who reported being the last to see her and who called Kylie in as missing to 911. As the search moves on, investigators return to Greg. At this stage, his role in the timeline is clearly defined. He is the last known person to have seen Kylie, and the last confirmed location of her presence was his grandparents' property where he lived. So after Kylie had been officially missing for 3 days, on August the 11th, Greg is interviewed by police. During that interview, he maintains his original account. He states that Kylie left the property on foot and that she walked towards Reservoir Avenue. He says that he does not know where she went after that. And yes, he acknowledged that there had been arguments between them, but he denied that anything physical had taken place. Over time, though, that begins to change. He later admitted that there had been some level of physical contact that had occurred during previous arguments, and these included grabbing Kylie's arms. Some TikTok users theorise that this bruise on Kylie's shoulder is from one such event, but of course that's not confirmed. Investigators begin to examine Greg's account more closely, looking for any inconsistencies across his multiple interviews. And as this process continues, those inconsistencies do begin to appear. Descriptions become less precise, certain details are adjusted, and parts of the timeline are no longer clear.
Patrice, 18-year-old Kylee Monteiro is one of several siblings. Tonight, 2 of her sisters telling me that her disappearance is completely out of character and that they fear for her safety.
This is not normal behavior. We have no clue what happened.
It's been 8 days since anyone has seen or heard from 18-year-old Kylee Monteiro, who was last seen on August 7th near County Street in Rehoboth.
The last time we heard her voice was Wednesday night, but last point of contact was Thursday through text.
Her sisters telling NBC 10 that she wandered away Thursday night from her estranged boyfriend's house that borders the reservoir, the same area law enforcement have been searching for days.
He woke up Friday morning and realized that she wasn't there. He got worried and contacted the police.
Around this same period, another element of the timeline begins to surface, that being Kylie's best friend, Anna. Her name appears within statements, including references made by Greg to investigating officers. At this stage, there is no allegation made against her by investigators, and no charge relating to her involvement in any offence. However, her presence becomes part of the broader timeline that is being examined. There are also other accounts being shared publicly during this time, but they aren't official findings, nor have they been verified by law enforcement. However, they are being circulated by individuals who state they were close to the situation, that they either knew Kylie or knew her by proxy. In those accounts, they claim that Anna was present at the property on August the 6th, and that she remained there in the days that followed. This will become important later, and once again, these claims are not confirmed by investigators, and no allegations of wrongdoing have been made against her. But they do introduce an additional layer to the timeline, because they suggest that the environment at the property may have involved more than two people, namely Kylie and Greg, and that Anna could have been there as well.
I wanted to come on here and say something about the situation about Kylie and her friend Anna. Because a lot of people are talking about Anna, and I wanted to say something because a lot of people are, and I didn't say anything. Because John DePetro posted a video about it, but I don't like him, and I don't like his platform, and he wasn't putting it out there for the right reasons. But I'm gonna watch what I say, because I'm gonna watch what I say. August 6th, the day that Kylie went to Greg's house to get her stuff, or whatever she was gonna do, I'm not exactly sure what she was gonna do that night, Anna was there. And I'm gonna put that out there, that Anna was there that day that Kylie went there to go get her stuff, August 6th. And that same day that Kylie was reported missing, Anna was at his house that night too. And the night after that, and the night after that, her location was saying that she was there. And that's weird. It's why are you at your best friend's boyfriend's house when she's missing? I don't know, it's just weird. And a lot of people are there's conspiracies. No, that's the truth, is what I just said. And I'm not making any accusations or anything, but I am. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here and kind of give my perspective, my view on that. But yeah, thank you for watching my video.
That really shifts how I see the dynamics of the situation in my head. So when this is considered alongside Greg's statement, it creates a far more complex picture. It raises questions about who was present, what was seen or heard, and whether the whole truth has actually been accounted for. It defines an area in this case where information is just incomplete.
I'm scared. I'm really scared. I don't know if they have her, but some part of me feels like they do.
As police search the wooded area of 107 County Street in Rehoboth, Kylee Monteiro's sister Faith is holding on to hope but also fearing the worst. Her sister, 18-year-old Kylie, went missing on August 7th. Now the Bristol County DA's office just announced the arrest of 22-year-old Gregory Groom of Rehoboth. He's been charged with aggravated assault and battery on a pregnant person and domestic assault and battery with an intimidation of a witness for acts committed against Kylie. Faith says her sister was last seen here in the area of her boyfriend's house where the two did have an altercation.
There was an altercation that happened the night before she went missing, but that's the only thing. We went out looking for her again the other day, and we've been in contact ever since.
On August the 14th, a large-scale search of Greg's grandparents' property is carried out. The land spans approximately 25 acres, and despite a thorough search, nothing is found. So at this stage, it does seem like Kylie truly did walk away like Greg said. But then days later, Greg is brought in for yet another interview, and this time his account changes once again. It would be during this interview that Greg provides a different version of events, a far, far darker picture. He describes another altercation with Kylie. He states that he pushed her and that she fell, hitting her head. He says that what happened was not intentional. However, when this explanation is just one more story, just introducing more inconsistencies, the truth is hard to decipher. Investigators continue to question him, applying pressure as they prepare to carry out an even more extensive search of his grandparents' property. He's informed that a search warrant has been obtained and that the area will be examined in detail. And it's at this point that his account changes even further. He provides additional information and draws a map. On that map, he identifies a specific location behind a shed on the property. He then describes what he says took place on August the 6th. He says that they had a fight, and in that fight, he used a sharp kitchen implement, and that Kylie's time on this earth ended at that location. He explains that he then spent several hours digging a hole, and this was approximately 20 yards from the shed. He then describes placing Kylie there before covering the area with debris to conceal it. Investigators then returned to the property and searched the precise location that was identified, and it would be there that they find disturbed earth, and it's consistent with recent digging. In a shocking moment, a body is then recovered approximately 5 feet below the surface.
Human remains consistent with those of Kylee Monteiro have been recovered. This is not a simple matter to look into. I mean, the first step is he reports her missing. So that may arouse some reaction from investigators, and from there, various evidence is followed up. As you heard inside, he spoke to the police several times, including yesterday, at which point he was being charged with a domestic assault that occurred on or about August 6th, as you heard the prosecutor say, reported by her sister, the victim's recitation of what occurred. And then yesterday, in which he was charged with a domestic incident, and the charges were upgraded to murder after the body was located.
On August the 19th, Greg is formally arrested. He is charged in connection with Kylie's passing, and he is held without bail. In court, he enters a plea of not guilty.
A body consistent with Kylee Monteiro was discovered approximately 5 feet underground. Ms. Monteiro's remains were recovered last evening, and her body is at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner undergoing identification process and undergoing an autopsy. Based on this case, the defendant's confession and the prior domestic, the Commonwealth asked this court to hold the defendant without bail.
No argument. Going to be held without bail.
But now, even with that sequence of events now being established through evidence and statements, some earlier questions about the timeline do not just entirely disappear. Greg, according to the police paperwork, was £135. And I mean absolutely no disrespect at all when I make this statement. I say it purely from a curious and factual standpoint. But Kylie did outweigh Greg. And I do, just in my own opinion, have to question whether Greg would have been capable of moving the body 20 yards alone. Like I say, no disrespect at all is meant.
How did she portray her relationship to you guys?
She, like every new relationship, I mean, she really cared for this guy, and even though they hadn't known each other very long, she was very adamant that this was, the love of her life, and this was the guy she wanted to be with, and she was always so happy, and she was always around him. So when she started kind of isolating or not talking to us as much, it didn't seem weird, because that's what I would do if I was in a new relationship, and just head over heels for someone. And
to us, it was her new favorite person, so it didn't seem out of the ordinary that she wanted to spend so much time with him. She still kept in contact. We always were in communication with her. She never fell off the face of the earth. She was always around, so it didn't seem out of the ordinary for us. It wasn't concerning at all. The only thing that worried us was that their relationship was moving very fast.
Yeah.
But that happens from time to time in a lot of relationships.
About 2 weeks ago on August 4th, I actually had the privilege of meeting and speaking with Kylee Monteiro, because she was my brother's best friend, and they would always FaceTime. I'm talking like every time that I would ask my brother, who are you on FaceTime with? 9 times out of 10, he was saying Kylie. Now, my conversation with Kylie was not very long, and it also wasn't like a meeting conversation. She was actually talking to my brother about her stay in the shelter. August 4th would be the very first and last time that I ever spoke with that girl. It wasn't until a couple days later that my brother had informed me that she went missing while I was actually in the kitchen cooking food. He had told me, he was like, you remember that girl you were talking with over the phone? Just like, yeah, what about her? That's when he was like, oh, she's missing. And I was like, what do you mean she's missing? My first thought went to the shelter. I was like, did the shelter do something to her? But my brother actually informed me that she had been kicked out of the shelter and was looking for a place to stay. And the last person that she was with was actually her boyfriend, Greg. Which, by the way, I did know that Kylee Monteiro was in a domestic violent relationship with this man because my brother had told me when he told me that she went missing that this man would get physical with her. To which, at that point, I was just like, low-key, a bit nervous. And I was just like, I really hope that she's okay. Because my brother also did inform me that she is not the type of person to just never text back or to never say something, and that she's always on her phone no matter what, and that if she doesn't text you, you will see her reposting something on TikTok or posting something somewhere. At this point, she had already been missing, and my brother was telling me that she had gone to Greg's house because Greg told her that she would be able to stay in his shed as long as, I don't know if it's his parents or his grandparents or whoever lived with him, didn't know, because apparently she had previously lived with him and they had kicked her out because they did not believe that the baby she was pregnant with was his. That being what my brother told me already gave me a bad feeling, because the fact that the last spot that she was at and the last person she was seen with was at Greg at his house already just doesn't sound right, knowing the violent person that he is. Mind you, I have nothing but good things to say about this girl, because not only was my brother friends with her, and she seemed to care about my brother's feelings, and if my brother felt a certain way or if my brother was upset, she would ride for my brother through thick and thin.
In the days following the arrest, the community responds. Vigils are held, and people gather to remember her. Friends and family speak publicly, describing Kylie as caring, expressive, and funny. Her sister recalls their final conversation, stating that the last thing that Kylie said to her was, "I love you so much."
Those who knew Kylie best said that she could light up a room just as bright as any candle.
The first time I met her was freshman year at volleyball tryouts, and I just remember her going up to everyone saying like, "Hi, my name's Kylie," and she was so excited to be there, and that stuck with me all throughout high school. She was always the one smiling, saying hi to everyone, being kind.
Many at the vigil wearing purple, the color of domestic violence awareness. A lot of attendees saying they didn't know Kylie, but wanted to make sure that they showed their support after hearing about her case.
Support in any capacity is going to be great for this family, especially in this time of grieving and loss.
Friends in attendance said that they would never forget Kylie's kindness.
She bought me this shirt on my birthday in sophomore year, and because I love South Park, so she bought me it. She got me a plushie, a bunch of other stuff. She was always just making jokes, laughing. She was always nice to people, always buying things. She never liked receiving gifts.
And that seeing so many people turn out to support their friend meant a lot to them.
It's so great that she made an impact on so many people. You can see that there's so many people here who love and support her, and I hope she knows that, because we all love and care about her. Even people the teachers came from our school, people who don't even know her are here, and that just means that she had a great impact on everyone with her kindness and just the way she carries herself.
After the speaking portion of the vigil ended, attendees went up to a poster board provided by the Monteiro family to leave messages of love for Kylie and of support for her family.
The investigation continues, and Greg is expected to return to court in September of 2026. This case is far from over. Be careful out there, and I'll see you soon.